Well, hello, my friends. I'm here with Robert Patterson, the CEO of Kids Can Community Center. I've known Robert for years, maybe decades. Great friend, doing so much good in the community. Robert, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. It has been decades. We
Okay,
should own that. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, decades. I've been doing this for over 30 years, so I know yeah, it's been decades. So yeah, great to see you. Lots of exciting things happening for Kids Can Community Center. Let's just first 115 years, but let's start there. 115
Yeah.
years. Wow. And I'm looking at your website. Founded in 1908 as the Settlement Association of Omaha. Yeah, I'm just gonna let you take it away.
So yeah, it's amazing to me to think, and I look back and we've been going through some of our historical photos since it is kind of a milestone year. And it's always interesting to see how much has changed, but also how much has not changed. And our focus has always been on kids and family, and particularly in South Omaha. So it's always kind of fun for me to see all those different things. And I've at the end of this year will be my 25th year with the organization.
Oh
So
my
I have actually seen multi generations come
God.
through where uh, kids that came here as kids are now coming here as parents, and that's kind of really neat for me to be able to see that coming back again and again. So it just makes me feel really special to be part of this organization and to build on the founders that did so much in the beginning and really weathered through the first century. Like I said, this wasn't our first pandemic that we this
Yeah,
organization went. Yeah.
no kidding. Yeah, you have to look at, I mean, when you really think about that. Um, Wow. And you've been there for 25 years. So again, like what I'm saying, I've known you for decades. And I mean, I've literally, you know, started our friendship or getting to know you 25 years ago. So, are there, so when you talk about like things are different, but also have stayed the same, can you say a little bit more about that?
Sure. So, and I look back and we kind of hit these different milestones. Like we had our first school-based program in 1916. And we kind of like to think, oh, these school-based programs are kind of new and a little bit different. And I think that,
Wow.
no, we've been doing that a while. And we had our first preschool, and I think they called it the first nursery school at the time, different names for different things. And then the things that have changed is like I look back at the pictures, the boys were doing one thing and the girls were doing something else. And so obviously 21st century, we can do anything we want. And just kind of seeing the different, especially STEM projects. And of course, I'm more excited to see where girls might have not traditionally gotten to get into those projects. They are just excelling. And so we're
Yeah.
excited to be able to do that.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah, it is interesting to see how things have changed, stayed the same, but also changed. The new building, uh, this has been in the works for how long?
Uh, it feels like decades, but it's not. So you may remember our building that we were in was built for us in 1964, and
Okay.
it served us well, but we just ran out of space and we couldn't renovate very easily, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't the environment that we wanted to do. So early on, even since day one, we knew a new building was at some point in the works, and I feel like put on my big boy pants a few years ago and did a capital campaign. I don't recommend doing capital campaigns during the pandemic, but we did, and it was
And how would you have
successful.
known? I mean,
Uh,
yeah, because that in
yeah,
itself, you have to have planning. I mean, to me, that in itself takes a couple a year or two of planning before you actually launch it. But yeah, continue on. So
absolutely. So we had a few delays, of course, that kind of happened along the way, but we did officially open our doors for families January 30th. So double the square footage, double the capacity. We now have special rooms just for the out of schoolers. They used to be relegated to just half the gym, and now they have 3 rooms just to themselves and a special STEM room that we're getting ready to populate with a lot of exciting uh, STEM projects. For
yeah.
early childhood side, expanded all those classrooms, but aged down to infant care for the first time in our history. So now we
Mm,
can take kids as young as 6 weeks old. We know infant care is hugely expensive no matter what income you make. So we kind of wanted to do our part there. So,
yeah.
and it's just a better environment that, when you can build to suit, and we really kind of created these great early childhood and out of school environments that you could just come in and kids are instantly engaged. And we were before we started, I was talking about our first open house for the parents and the kids, and just seeing them come in the building and through their eyes made all of that blood, sweat, and tears worth it. Just to see
Yeah.
all the labor that we put into this is, their wishes came true.
Yeah. And I know when we talked, so the last time we had a conversation or Metro TV interview was during the holidays. And I know that you were looking at kind of things opening up at the end, the center opening up, end of January, February. Then you actually had an official ribbon cutting where you're like ready, you're ready to invite the public in. Um, and that's the timeline. And you want
And
to
that
say,
was actually, we did that on March 27th, and we
yeah,
picked that date because that was our actual 115th anniversary. And so
okay,
I could not think of a better day to be
yeah,
able to do that and honor the founders of the organization, and just kind of really kind of all the planets were aligned for that day. So, and
yeah.
we had good weather too.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, perfect. Perfect. And who are the founders of this organization?
so it kind of started through. So it was part of the Jane Addams settlement movement. But at the time, it was mostly kind of the wives of some well-to-do men in the area that said, "Hey, we need a social settlement here," and they kind of got together and just made it happen.
Yeah, it is interesting because it started out as settlement. And then back in again in 1908, I mean, the community, what Omaha, is, I mean, that's where it was. I mean, it wasn't going too far past where you're at because it's like 100, like, what is it? 42nd, 30,
Yeah. So we're at 48th and Q, and
40th and Q.
that was probably West Omaha at that point.
Yeah, that was West Omaha when you even look at it. So that's kind of where it was in these, and like you said, these women of kind of the maybe the leaders or the businessmen, philanthropists in the community at that time said, "Hey, we need to do this." And I find history fascinating when it comes to how organizations start. Um, so let's talk a little bit. I want to talk about I first before we move on to the event. Again, I'm kind of glancing over this way, looking at your website. So you partner with Collective for Youth, Nelson Mandela Elementary, Early Childhood Development Center, and then you also have are credited through Mentor Nebraska, because I want to talk about mentoring before I let you go. But those are some of the partnerships that you have.
Yeah. So, and one of the things, obviously, this new center is great. That's only part of what we do. So, we have over 7 school-based sites where we do after-school programming in North
Okay.
and South Omaha. So, Gilder in South Omaha, and then in North Omaha, we're at Mandela, Miller Park, Minilusa, Conestoga Magnet, uh, Benson West. So we do we're literally on both sides of Omaha. So, and that's been a big change, especially in the past 10 years for us.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the Kids Can Luncheon, the Can Do Awards that's coming up on Thursday, May 4th. How many years is this?
This will be the 19th year.
Oh
So I
my
feel like
gosh,
I
can
need to
you
do
believe
something
it?
super special next year.
Yeah, so you're the 20th year, which will be 2024, but the 19th year. So what is the award? Kind of give me an overview of what the awards are all about.
Sure. So the Can Do Awards kind of came about because we used to kind of do the typical bring in a speaker and have a kind of keynote. And I quickly kind of realized I'm like, we have enough special people in our own backyard of Omaha and Council Bluffs to be able to celebrate them. And so we kind of the Can Do. We first had a Can Do Citizen, and now it's expanded to mini awards. So the Can Do Mindset, Can Do Growth Mindset, Can Do Future Award, Can Do Hope Award, Can Do Junior Award has been the one that's been going on the longest. So where we actually honor a kid that
Mhm.
goes to Kids Can. But Bellevue University sponsors that, and so part of that award, that child gets their first college scholarship, which
Wow.
is just really to see for an 11 or 12-year-old to get their first college scholarship. And
Yeah.
talk about growth mindset, that is kind of all set there. So I'm excited because it's a celebration day, and I love
Yes.
celebrating people.
Yeah, and that's coming up on May 4th. Where is the event at?
We moved to Scott Conference Center,
Okay, a nice
which
central location. It's a great,
central location. UNO and our organization were both born in 1908, so I feel like there's a lot of symmetry going on there.
yeah, yeah. So people, again, I'm looking at your website as I glance over here. Kidscan.org. Easy. There's a lot of information here. You can find information about the luncheon, but all sorts of just, the about, the past, the programs, how to donate resources, how you can, yeah, contribute back to the organization. I want to talk about mentoring. Let's talk about mentoring. Yeah, let's go to mentoring. And um, how are you focusing on mentoring in the new center?
So that was one of the bonus points with this new center is that we kind of created little nooks and crannies and space and the big hallway for mentoring to happen on site. And if there's one program that took the biggest hit during the pandemic, it was mentoring because
Yeah,
we just couldn't let could not even let parents into the building at certain points. And so we got some funds to kind of hire a new coordinator and really kind of push this.
yeah,
And we're already getting new mentor matches in, but as you know, the need is always greater than the supply.
yeah,
So I'm really kind of pushing mentoring because if there's many factors that make a difference in a child's life, but one of the key factors is knowing that an adult cares about them, and
yeah.
adult, not just your teacher or parent, but that is kind of looking out for them. So I call it entry level mentoring here at Kids Can because we do it on site. So you can say every Thursday at 4:30, I will be there and we will have activities. And if you want to do baking, we can make sure the ingredients are all there for you because we just want to make it as easy as possible. And
Yeah.
really, you just need to be there for the kid. But we also have a partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters. So
Mhm.
if the child moves or changes schools or something, if they both parties agree, they can just continue that mentorship at Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that's what I did with my own mentor. That I started mentoring Brian now 9 years ago at Kids Can,
Oh, yeah.
and we've continued our mentorship on at Big Brothers Big Sisters. So uh, I can't tell you how rewarding it is on my side, and not to say that you have to mentor for a decade, but we do ask for at least 1 year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have that just kind of pings me a little bit. I'm going to come back and have another conversation that's a more in-depth conversation about mentoring, but people can go to your website, they can learn more, they can reach out. Is there a time of year quickly before I leave because we're like pretty much out of time? Is there a start time and an end time? Does it have a cycle or can you show up in April and have it? I mean,
You can show up anytime. We will find a way to fit you in. The
yeah,
kids are waiting, and so
yeah,
we will work around your schedule for sure. So
yeah,
and it is kind of we're asking for volunteer time. 4 hours a month. We
yeah,
easily you'll find 4 hours to quickly binge on Netflix every weekend. So I think we can
yep,
find 4 hours to spend time
yeah.
with the kid.
Well, Robert, it's so great to see you again. A lot of, I mean, just so many exciting things. 115 years, a new building. We've got Can Do Awards coming up on May 4th, looking at mentoring and how important that is to children's lives. Lastly, I'll just say, hey, give us the mission of Kids Can.
Our mission is to educate, engage, and inspire kids through early childhood care and out of school programs.
All right. Well, we're going to end with that. So, Robert, thank you so much. And I look forward to chatting with you soon.
Likewise, thank you.